For the last several weeks, my husband Alan and I have been working on renovating the kind of scary dungeon-like bathroom in our basement. 1, 2, 3. Whoa! Tiling is not for wussies. It is a lot of work. Ready? 1, 2, 3.
Don't smash it up. Right?
I'm not. No, just go gently. 1, 2, 3. There's a bag of stuff I need. Hey babe, will you get this door for me? Thank you. Feels right. Damn it, I did it wrong. No, I didn't. Did I? No, I didn't. Yay! Got that one. That one. There we go. I'm going to be putting a plinth block on this door trim, the same as I did for the rest of the house. And I have a video on how we have been doing the trim throughout the house. I'll put a link to that in the cards somewhere up here and down in the description. But these little plinth blocks, I just used a 5/4 by I think 6-inch piece of wood. I did have to trim it down a little bit, but I'm basically doing it a 1/2 inch thicker or 1/2 inch taller and wider than the trim for the base and for the edge of the door. But this just makes like a nice little transition piece for the trim to run into. Kind of makes it look a little bit more finished. I'm gonna wait to do the trim at the top of the door until after we get the ceiling in. I'm not exactly sure what the finished level of the ceiling is going to be yet, so I'm going to wait to put the top trim on until after I have that figured out. But that is pretty much all of the trim except for over here by this little shelf insert that I'm going to be doing over here. So I am going to be doing a built-in shelf here. I'll probably work on that tomorrow. And then once I get that in, I can do any trim that needs to go down here if I have trim to go down there. So I also decided not to do the plinth block over here just because this is such a tight little corner. Didn't really seem worth it. So got one on this side, but not on that side. All right, so now I want to start building a shelf to go in this little cubby here. So this is kind of a plumbing clean out area, and we don't really need constant access to this, but we would like it to be somewhat easily accessible if we ever need to get in there. So I'm gonna build a shelf that's gonna be kind of semi-permanent that we can remove pretty easily if we need to. And this opening is kind of off center, so I actually need to add a stud here, which I have one left over from previously what was in here. This actually used to be right in the center here. So I'm just gonna put this over here on this side and basically give myself the same distance between the corner and the edge here as I have here. And I'm not too worried about the drywall not coming all the way to the edge because I will have trim around this that'll cover all this up. So I have about 5.5 inches here from the corner to the edge here. So I'm just gonna line this up so that the edge of the stud is 5.5 inches from this corner. This 2x4 is a little bit warped, and one thing I kind of learned when I was making these walls over here, building out around the shower, is that you can kind of twist them into place. It takes a little bit of finagling and muscle to do it, but basically the top here, I think I've got it pretty straight. So I'm gonna go ahead and put another screw in here just to stabilize this. Then I'm gonna use my clamp to clamp the bottom and get that one into place before I put the other screw in. So we'll see if that works. And even if it's not perfect, it's okay. It's really just to help kind of stabilize the shelf that I'm gonna put in here. So the shelf will be good and square, but I wanna get this one as close to square as I can, but it's not super critical for this particular application. I can kind of hook it onto some studs back here. I think I can get it to work. Maybe, we'll see. I don't care for your paranoia. All right. I can let you know how I wish it was so. Opening now. In the space of a lifetime. 80 inches. I'm actually gonna come down. Let's see, that's 81.5. So 81 minus 3.5. So the basic design of this shelf is gonna be about 77.5 inches tall by 16 inches wide and 14 inches deep. That way I won't bump into the plumbing behind the shelf. Here, thank you. Are you enjoying this weather, baby? It's a beautiful day. Oh, you're going to the groomer in a couple of days. I'm excited about that. Oh, sweet girl. Sweet girl. What is that? Oh, is it a turtle?
Snapper.
Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh, is in that little pond? Man, that's kind of cool. We have this little water feature left from the previous owners. We started cleaning it out last year, but then kind of the season got away from us. But I want to reclaim this and make it into a fountain kind of closer to the house at some point. So Alan's been working on getting it cleaned out. And that's where we found our little snapper turtle friend. Put him back in here, and Alan's gonna take him to a different spot with some water later. Ooh, this is why I like working outside. Sawdust. Let's do it like this. go. Sit here for a sec. Ooh, it's getting heavy. I got this. All right, I got a box. So I'm gonna put some shelves in here. I'm gonna do permanent shelves, and I still need to cut those. I'm kind of getting a little tired. And usually when I get tired, my kind of policy is that I don't do any more cutting, because that's when I start making mistakes. So I think I'm gonna wait to cut the shelves for this, but essentially I'm gonna have a shelf about here, because I'll put a little hamper in here, and then I might have 2 or 3 more shelves. I'll probably have, let's see, 1, 2, 3. I'll probably have 3 shelves total. So I just need to cut those pieces. They'll basically be the same size as this piece and that piece down there, but I'll probably do that tomorrow. So I have got some hardware for the bathroom to hang up. I've got a 5-piece set that I bought on Amazon. I will link it below. And I went with the satin brass for all of the hardware in this bathroom. Now, the one issue that I'm running into is figuring out where to put this towel rack. Originally, I thought I would put it on the wall here next to the shower, but as you can see, that's gonna hit the glass. That's not ideal. We don't want that. I can't really put it behind this door for the same reason. There's a little bit of space back here. The door wouldn't be able to open all the way. I definitely don't want to put it next to this toilet, because it just ekes me out thinking about having a towel next to a toilet. So, and then here I'm gonna have that shelf. So I think the best place for this is gonna be over here by the mirror, underneath this outlet. This cord is actually not gonna be showing once I finish installing the mirror properly. This is just kind of temporary right now, just have it plugged in here, but I do have an outlet behind the mirror where I plan to plug this in. So I think I'm gonna put this towel rack here. And it's not ideal, but it's the most ideal for this space. So I think that's gonna work out well having that there. And then I've also got some other pieces. So I've also got a hand towel hook, I've got a toilet paper holder thing, and I've got 2 just kind of single hooks. So I thought I could put these 2 hooks here, kind of do like a staggered hook situation here. That would clear the door. And then you could hang up a towel here, you know, to have it next to the shower when you open the shower door. And then I would put the little hand towel hook over here next to the sink. So I think that's gonna work out. I'm gonna get to work installing those now. I've really been enjoying this little laser level. It is very handy to have. The only issue is that it is really, the tripod just isn't tall enough for most things that I need it for. So I end up having to use something to lift it up. I got this little table at a garage sale for like $1, and I eventually plan to refinish it, but lately it has been a supplement to my tripod. So, but yeah, I love this thing. It is really helpful when it comes to hanging stuff up. All right, so this little towel rack has these little screw things that kind of tighten it onto the mounting hardware here. I'm actually just gonna line this up with my laser level, and I'll use those little holes to kind of mark the location where I want to put the screw in. didn't realize I had a bone in here. I was like looking for the other drill. Yeah, you can take that one. I didn't realize I had them both. I'm sorry. I like made a special trip upstairs to get that other drill. There. Oh yeah. All right, sometimes I get questions from people like, oh, your husband doesn't help you out with these projects, you're doing everything yourself, like, oh, you should let him help you more. Look, when I'm doing stuff, he's doing stuff. Right now, he is in this crawl space with all these nasty bugs, trying to seal up some of the vents that we have. He gets in the dirty stuff, okay? He is always doing stuff, even though he's not on camera, he's always doing stuff, and I appreciate him so much, because that's stuff that I certainly would not want to do. I've been procrastinating doing this last little bit on these shelves all day. And I know why. It's because I don't want to get dust all over me. I hate the dust. I hate sawdust. I hate dust. And I've found through all of these projects that usually tends to be the one thing, the one hurdle I have to overcome to find the motivation to work on a project that is going to be involving dust, because it is maddening. But I just have 3 little shelves to cut for the box that I made that's going to go in the cubby in the bathroom. It's also very gloomy today and a little bit colder because the sun's not out, which is kind of bumming me out a little bit. It was so nice yesterday. And I've got my cutting station out here in the yard because I put my chairs over here on my little patio yesterday and I don't want to move them and I don't want to get sawdust all over them. So I'm going to work out here. And I feel like on the camera, it looks like I'm so far away. I'm really probably only like 15 feet away from the house. This camera just makes it look like it's really, really far away. It's not. So one thing that I find really helpful to do, instead of having to measure out multiple of the same measurement, so these shelves I'm going to put them equidistant apart, is to make a jig. And a jig can be as simple as a piece of scrap wood that is cut to the length you need, and you can just line up your piece with this and screw it in or nail it in. So I've got 2 pieces here. I'm going to put these on either side inside the shelf and butt them up against the top. There, and then I'll take my actual shelf piece. So yeah, you just put that in there, like so. And I can also double check it with my square. So just in case my pieces of wood are a little out of square, that looks good. That looks pretty good. Take these out. Do the next set right below that. To make sure that I get it straight down, I'm just going to draw myself a line here. Looks good. Oh, God. It's so heavy. Oh. Yay. Okay. Heck yeah. Just gotta put some blocking back there. gosh. Okay, so I just have to add a piece of blocking back here because it's going to be sitting on this piece of stud here. So when Alan gets back, I'm going to have him use that Ramset nail gun to nail this to the floor, and then the back corner of the shelf can rest on that, and I'll actually screw it into that. But yay, I'm really, really excited now that I got this built. So when he gets back, I'll put it in there. So yesterday, after I finished making this shelf, I thought, okay, I'm gonna wait for Alan to get home. He was out running some errands and doing some things, and I thought I'll wait for him to get home, and then I'll have him use the little nail gun thing to nail this to the floor. But then I remembered that those nails don't go flush with the top of the studs. They kind of stick up a little bit. I don't want that, so I think I'm just gonna glue it with some Gorilla heavy duty construction adhesive to the floor. It just needs to support the back of the shelf so that it's level with the front. So it doesn't really have to be nailed in, I don't think. And I am using a treated piece of lumber because this is going to be sitting directly on concrete. So I'm just going to glue this to the floor, and then I'll slide in the shelf and screw it into place. And then I can add trim and kind of finish things and paint it and all that. Shoot, okay. So I've got the shelf in place here. I'm aligning it with the drywall because the trim is gonna sit over the edge of this and be flush with the interior, and it needs to sit on the drywall. So over here is a little bit more tricky because I kind of had to, I don't have drywall that goes all the way to the edge of the shelf. I did put some shims in here to kind of help me get things in place. And I checked my levels. So we're level front to back, level side to side, and we're level this way. I also have this big level here to check. Level. That looks great. So now I just want to screw this in a couple of places, and the screws are going to be exposed, so I just want to put them in places that are less conspicuous. So I may just kind of have to live with it being somewhat visible. But anyway, okay, I'm going to screw that in. I'm going to pre-drill my holes first, and then I'm going to screw this in. And I said it before, but these construction screws, they've got the little star head on them. I don't know if you can see that. These are really the best screws for screwing stuff in. I've never stripped one of these. And the wood screws strip like crazy. So these are just 2-inch construction screws that I'm going to screw in here. So I'm going to start attaching the trim, and I'm actually just going to try to attach the trim to the shelf and not to the wall, because if we ever do need to remove this, we can move the whole unit as one piece, including the trim, and not have to pull it off the wall. So I'm really trying to press it against the wall here while I nail it into the wood of the shelf. And I want to be careful that I don't... Why is this thing blinking? Is the battery low? And I'm installing the trim around this the same that I would around the doors. So I got the plinth block, and then I'll put the trim on, and then I will butt the trim on the bottom into the plinth block. Okay, we have a shelf. Now I just want to add some trim to the front of the shelf to kind of make them look a little bit thicker and nicer, and also cover up the edge of the plywood. Now I just want to go around and caulk everything, and then I can paint. I got all of the trim caulked and it's almost ready to be painted. I still have to fill the nail holes from the nail gun when I attach the trim to the wall. And I'm also going to paint the shelf. I also need to caulk the shower. So I have some clear silicone to caulk the shower. However, I had used a little bit of it before and I could not get it to unclog, and I ended up just like destroying the bottle of caulk and it got all over my caulk gun. I do have an appointment later today. I'm going to run out and get some of that clear silicone to do the bottom and the corner of the shower. So that's really frustrating because I was hoping to get it done before I went to my appointment. And also I'm planning to leave on a vacation in a couple of days. So I'm trying to get as much done in here today as I can so I can work on editing this video. So I don't think I'm going to be able to paint the trim before I leave. I think I'm just going to run out of time for that and the shelf, but I will get everything caulked. And then after that, the main thing that needs to be done is the ceiling. So I've gotten a few questions about what we're going to be doing with the ceiling in here and if we're going to be covering the ceiling, and the answer is yes. We're definitely going to be covering the ceiling because obviously we don't want all of this stuff exposed while we're in here taking a shower. I'm not going to be able to get to that in this video. I'm going to have to do it when I get back from my trip. So I won't have an update on that for a couple of weeks. But after today, the bathroom will be fully functional, including the shower, because I'll have everything caulked. But we've made great progress. Just getting that shelf into that little cubby and covering up all of that ugly kind of guts and plumbing behind the wall makes it look so much better in there. And when I get back from my trip, I'll be able to finish painting the trim and start working on the ceiling. So that's the plan. With that being said, I'm going to end the video here. I want to thank you guys so much for watching, and I will see you in the next one. Okay, bye.